Everyone, welcome to Diversity Cafe. I'm the founder and CEO of This Way Global, and I love to have you back. Today, we have one of our favorite partners. We have been working with Cary Sparrow out of Greenwich.HR for years. I want to say I think we started working together in 2016.
Yeah, I think 2016 or 2017, right around that time.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, like in the first year of the founding of our company, Cary was already well on his way. And we have worked collaboratively with many customers to make sure that we're getting data to them. And so one thing that's going to be different about this Diversity Cafe edition than we've ever had before is, as you well know, most of it's podcast driven. You can just listen to it on your drive in or maybe when you're on your Peloton or something. But this one, I think you will want to be able to tap into the resources that we share with you afterwards, and that Cary is going to make available to us in PDF format. So Cary, explain to us what Greenwich HR does and why a printout of what you do will matter to our listeners.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Angela, and thanks for having me on the show today. I've loved our partnership. It's taken so many interesting down so many interesting paths. Greenwich.HR was founded back in 2016, and with the goal of making the labor market more transparent. There are tons of reasons, and many of us are familiar with them, why data about jobs and pay and skills is really, really poor, frankly. And our view, and my view in particular, was there's a better way. There's a better way to see what's happening with those things and to get more value, drive more innovation, create less wasted time, wasted money. So that's what we founded the company on. We built a data platform that is now the largest and the fastest growing still source of real-time labor market intelligence. And so we get information about who's hiring, how much they're expecting to pay for those jobs, what skills and experiences they're looking for. We have several different components of our data platform that also includes data about what talent is available in markets. Today, I think we're going to focus more on what companies are hiring for and how much they're paying. But we collect, to put this in perspective, we collect everyday data on about 80% of the new jobs in the U.S. economy. And we've expanded outside of the U.S. now to include 59 countries. And for the developed world, we're capturing data at about the same rate.
We get that. Let me ask you a question here. What is the other 20% that you're not capturing? So 80% you've got. What's the other 20?
So the other 20% is just what's not visible to us. Okay. So we get our data, Angela, as you know, from online job listings. And so we have a massive technology operation that goes and scours literally over 10 million web pages every day and monitors what companies are hiring. And then we bring some of our kind of special sauce in terms of figuring out what companies expect to pay, normalizing the data, to common job catalogs and so forth, things like that. But our technology stack is able to capture data on a wide proportion of the economy, but not all of it. And we keep looking for ways to increase it. Regardless, though, 80% of the whole
window, right?
Pardon?
The sign in the window at the shop downtown.
Yeah,
you're
that's
not
right.
Have that.
Right. Although I will tell you that most of those signs in the window have a web page that you can go to apply online, and if they do, then we capture it.
Okay, so it is even some of the small mom and pop type organizations. You have those jobs showing up too.
Yep. In the U.S., we have data from about 4.6 million hiring organizations, and most of those are small organizations. We have data from I would say we've got the entire Russell 2000 covered. We've got any large company, almost any medium-sized company, and a whole bunch of small companies.
That's incredible. And I have to say, as you know, our customer base is very wide.
Yep.
So our big point at This Way Global is if you want fair recruiting, we're there to support you in that endeavor. And so that comes in all types of companies, all shapes and sizes and locations. I love the fact that you have expanded globally, because that's one of our initiatives in 2023 is we have an active go-to-market on the global market, which is super exciting.
Yep.
So I have asked you to let me challenge you live.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you ready for that?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So All right. So before we get into the challenge, I'm going to tell you something real fast. So This Way Global and Greenwich HR are going to be at HR Tech Conference in Las Vegas. If you're a part of the industry, you know it well because it's 15,000 people showing up to talk about HR Tech. Your booth is, I believe, number 7121, right? 7121?
That's correct.
Okay, awesome. So, Cary, will you have people there that can show this product, what we're about to talk about? Can they show it live?
Absolutely. We're rolling out WageScape, our new product, at HR Tech, and we've got a team there that'll be able to walk anyone through it.
That is super exciting. So I have been fortunate enough that I got to use it well before it gets launched at HR Tech. You're going to absolutely love it when you get a hold of it. It's going to blow your mind a little bit. And so I'm ready to, I asked some of our customers, I said, give us the challenges that you have. And we got 3. So if you are in healthcare, if you are in technology, or if you are in supply chain, you are going to want to listen to what we're about to do. All right. So number 1, let's start with probably the most challenging job in this market. Has been for the last 2.5 years. Registered nurse.
Registered nurse. Yeah. It's always a challenge to staff registered nurses. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if that's all right. And
Awesome.
we can take a look at, so just for the audience's benefit, until this year, Greenwich.HR has been a data as a service company, which means that we sell access to our data platform to really savvy data science teams, bigger corporations, bigger consulting firms, and technology companies that build our data into their products. This year, we launched our own product. It's called WageScape, and it's designed to be used by anyone who wants to understand what's happening with hiring and pay for any job in any market. So here's...
So Cary, I cannot see your screen yet.
Here is the... okay, share screen. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we're about to have it. Okay, we have it. We have it. Multiple facets of it.
Yeah. And so this is WageScape. WageScape sits on top of our entire data set. So over 250 million US jobs, job openings are in our data platform. And what it allows a user to do is very quickly hone in on, for any title or any location, any industry, any date range, any group of jobs, like by job family or subfamily, what's actually happening in a very visual way, a way that you mentioned earlier, you can print out, you can include in your own reports, you can even drill down into it and see the underlying data. So in this case, I've already called up registered nurse, looking at what's happening with hiring and pay over the last 365 days.
So just so everyone knows, in case you aren't looking at it right now, we're going to be looking at August 12th, 21 through August the 11th, 2022. So if you can imagine, this has been a really bizarre time period in the last 12 months. Yep. I mean, I think maybe 2020 was more bizarre, but we're in a recovery mode right now, and we're in high demand mode. Yep. So walk us through, and remembering that some of our listeners will not be able to actually see the screen. They'll have to go look at the content that we send to them. So walk us through what the pieces of data are that they will find out about this.
Right. Well, the first thing I want to just call out is, this, you said it's through August 11th, 2022, and that's yesterday from the time we're recording this. And so this data is as up-to-date as you can possibly get. The first section of WageScape shows overall statistics around median salary, and this is advertised salary. So this is how companies are presenting the pay that they expect to pay for the positions that they're hiring. The number of job listings that data is based on, in this case, the median salary over that entire time period for registered nurses is just under 75,000. We're going to look more closely at what it is for right now versus a year ago.
Oh, okay.
That's based on 5.2 million job listings. So these are not small sample sizes. These are huge sample sizes across almost 110,000 companies. It also shows you how long the listings stayed open. So in this case, an average listing duration of 15 days, which is a good indicator of how difficult it is to find the talent that folks are looking for. And 15 is about is about right in the middle in
I
terms of
think
all
actually
jobs.
for registered nurses, certain in hot markets, we see it oftentimes much larger number
Yep.
of duration.
Yep.
So this is an average, right? So
Yep. That's right.
you have the ones that are 3 days, and you have the ones that are 45 days, and you're just averaging it out. Okay.
Yep, that's right. Now below that, we've got trend lines that show what things have actually, been doing for specific, for, almost on a daily basis. And if you look, if we go back and we look at the 2 weeks beginning of January of 2021, so about a year and a half ago, the median advertised salary for a nurse was 64,751. So,
$10,000 less
right.
in January of 2021. Is that
Well,
right?
it's worse than that because if
Wow.
we look at as of right now,
Oh my God.
it's close to 85,000,
80.
right?
Yeah. Even
So
we see from the candidates when they are applying, they typically won't even look at a job if it's not paying over 80.
right, right. So it's
Incredible.
interesting. You can see the distribution of what folks are advertising also on a histogram, and you can see that the biggest clusters are, for this time period are around 70,000, but there's a huge tail. I mean, there's a large number of positions that are well over 120,000 being advertised.
Yeah. So those of you who might not be looking at this, go back up for a second.
Okay, sure thing.
Yeah. So we're showing all the way out to $295,000 a year. And we've got plenty of listings that are 250, 270, 275. And so I think everyone, if you're in the healthcare space, you got to know that when you're competing, when you posted a salary that's 80 or 90 and an RN finds one that's 150 or 250,000, it's going to be really hard to be competitive.
Right, and I would say that the numbers skew heavily towards greater experience and greater clinical specialty and management specialty. So if you're looking for those kinds of qualities and expecting to pay, something close to what nurses in your market are making, you can expect to have a really hard time attracting folks for that.
Now, are you able to get down into that type of detail? Because I know that we can click in and we can see more data.
Yes, that's right. And so for each of these visuals, you can click in and see the underlying data. Like, for example, I'll just open this up, and you can expand the chart, and then in a second here, there we go.
Oh my gosh.
There's all the underlying data, right? And so
you've been holding back from me, Cary. Like you told me I had everything. I did not have everything. I just saw magic. If you want data, you will absolutely have to see what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, so you can, and then you can download that as a CSV. You can clip it out and put it into your own spreadsheets to do whatever analyses that you want on it. Now that's this underlying data. There's even more.
So,
go ahead.
Go back on that for a second. So I can export this to a CSV file.
Yes, that's right. You sure can.
Oh,
in addition to printing it out.
Type of business intelligence, like if I'm using Tableau or Power BI or any of those, I could actually see my data in the system I am already integrated to. Is that right?
That's right. You download it as a CSV and then you upload it as a table, and now you've got it to work with. You can merge it with multiple, sources of data, including your own data, to do analysis on it. So yeah, it's pretty powerful. I'll come back down in size here. So that's the nurses. The trend is very up. In addition, because all of our data comes from the public domain, we don't have to blind. It's not like traditional salary surveys where you have to blind the participants. You can't show what individual companies are paying. We don't have to do that because these are all for positions that at the time that they were posted are fully in the public domain, and they're for positions that haven't been filled yet. So they're not about individuals. So you can see over here, we're looking at a chart right now that's a table that lists all the top employers for registered nurses, how many listings they have during this time period, what the median salary is that they're advertising, and how long those listings are staying open. So if you want to do competitive analysis, or if you want to do market analysis, you're a service providers for something that relates to healthcare, this is an awesome resource in terms of understanding the competitive and the business environment.
Yeah, and I think the thing too that it really expands your mentality around how to look at who your competitors are. So I'm looking at the list right now. There's a lot of staffing agencies that are in here that specialize in healthcare staffing,
Yep.
right up against the likes of Ascension,
Yep. Mercy.
Enormous healthcare brand. But then you also have Mercy, which is the hospitals that are primarily on the East Coast, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But you have like all the variety that I think is really important, because we see a lot of our customers compare themselves against like one hospital to another hospital in that same area.
Right.
Not realizing that's a very small subset of the competitors.
Yep. Even within local markets, there's way more competitors than most people understand.
Yeah.
And so what WageScape is designed to do is to give you that visibility at a level that hasn't been ever even closely available before. So
wild. Okay, so
yeah.
I want to challenge you on the next one, because
we'll go to the next one.
I know that I'm going to have angry customers if I promised them I would challenge you on this one. Okay, so one of the other hottest jobs in the market, I'll say top 10, if not top 5, is data engineering, data developers, data scientists, all that kind of stuff. So why don't we do a data engineer?
Okay.
We've got very specifically a customer that is wanting to look at Boise, Idaho, against Atlanta, Georgia. This is very funny. I know who the customer is, and now I want to ask them later why. Atlanta makes sense. Boise surprising me. So.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because there are data engineers are being hired all over the country, and so what we do in this case is we just type in the job title field, data engineer, and you can see that all the jobs. I just started typing in data, and all the jobs immediately populate that have the term data in them. So you can, if you're not sure on a title, you can see what's available and select what's needed. You can select multiple jobs too. In this case, we're just going to select the data engineer job, and then you can do the same thing with. I just typed in Boise into the location, and these are all metro areas. So Boise and the surrounding areas, and it pops right up.
How does it go, or does it change depending on what market you're in?
So it's actually, and this is a little geeky now. It's based on the metro statistical areas defined by the census, right?
Okay.
So
it is then tied back to how at a national level we collect data. It's all the same.
Yep.
You're comparing apples to apples then. Okay.
That's exactly right. So if you've got other data sets where you are mapped to a census area, this is designed to directly, allow you to directly integrate those.
Okay, so now I've just thought of, we're not going to do it today, but now we're going to have to do an entire other segment on global data then, because that's a whole different ball of wax.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's fascinating. Okay, so data engineer in Boise, Idaho, over the last 365 days, so as of yesterday, there were 300 job listings that we had captured in Boise, right? So
hold on. Wait 1 second. So you're saying 300 job listings for data engineer?
That's correct.
In Boise, Idaho.
In Boise, Idaho, from 63 companies.
Okay, that is not. So this would be a fascinating game for you to play in your booth.
Yeah.
Guess how many? Because if you had asked me, I would have said something like 10% of that.
Right.
That blows my mind. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, the number of the number of companies hiring for any given position is way more than most people think. So 1025, we'll remember this, right? That's what the median advertised salary is in Idaho. And we'll take a look, and if we look as of right now, it's actually a little bit lower than that. It's almost 101. And if we look, back to the beginning of last year, it was at 106. So it's actually data engineers in Boise, Idaho. The advertised rates
Wow.
have fallen a little bit over the last
So
18
could we
months.
also look at the number of job listings at that same peak?
Yeah, so we can filter this in even, more narrowly. So,
Okay,
if we wanted to look at a very precise time period,
got it. Okay.
then we can set the dates that we want to look at, and you can see which companies are hiring, and you can even see in the application and other modules, you can see the individual job listings.
So I'm just
So,
thinking right now, we've got a lot of people that buy technology in the HR sector. They
mhm,
buy, or they at least set their budgets, like September, October, November timeframe.
mhm.
And they may buy at the end of the year, they may buy in January, but it's kind of all right now. And I think that this could be really powerful when they're trying to budget how much they have to set aside for salary compensation as they're planning for 2023.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially, I mean, so many people have reached out to us and are now clients because they were not able to keep up with and understanding what's
Yeah.
happening with pay in the market. I mean, here's a little factoid. If we look across all jobs in the U.S. for the last 18 months, the advertised salaries for all jobs, all levels, hourly, all the way up to very senior, has gone up 30% across all markets.
Well,
And
and I'm looking at a quartiles chart too that I
yeah,
love that you have here.
mhm,
So here's the thing about it. If you're a recruiter or if you're head of talent acquisition and you are asking for more budget, this graph that I'm looking at right now, you can just see the chaos in this graph. Like you
yep,
don't have to even dig down in the numbers. Obviously, you might want to, but you can just take a screenshot of that and show that to your boss and
yep.
say, "This is what we're dealing with." That visually, it's astounding how much fluctuation there is in this market.
Yep, that's right. It evens out a bit as you get into bigger markets or you look nationally. It's a little smoother, but you're right. It's all over. It's all over the map. Now, one interesting thing about this is, so why would we look at Atlanta? And again, here we're
Yeah, I
looking,
want
we're
to know why.
scrolling down, and you can see that. By the way, the demand for these positions has skyrocketed. It's
Wow.
over 3 times what it was a year and a half ago, and you can see who the companies are that are hiring. Um, but also, this is a kind of job that lends itself to remote work. And in our case, down at the bottom here, we've got an indication of what proportion of jobs are remote versus in office. And where the companies have said this is a remote job, it's about 55% of the data engineers. Now, it could actually be a little bit more than that, but the
Yeah.
point being that if you're in a relatively low cost market, but you've got a job that can be done remotely, you are no longer competing in a low cost market. You are competing nationally. Anybody who is in your market that can do that job is looking at what's available nationwide. So I'm going to go ahead and flip back up to the
Well, I
top
want to go
here.
back,
Oh,
go
go
down
ahead.
one more second. Go
Yeah.
back to what we were just
Oh,
looking at.
yeah.
I just
Okay.
found something fascinating. So when we talk about when our employers who are our customers, when they're comparing who they're competing against for individuals, can you scroll down just a little bit? And no, the other way. Sorry. There.
Sure.
Okay. So we have Dell,
Hmm.
who I bet you has never considered Blue Cross of Idaho as a direct competitor for talent. And neither of them have probably thought of like Ryder System as, oh, that's also a strong competitor we have.
Right. Right.
Yeah, this is, and very clearly, let me just look real fast. United Health Group, no, it's Balsam Brands. According to this, Balsam Brands is paying top notch talent.
Top dollar. Yeah. Yeah.
You're paying top dollar for their talent. That's amazing. This is just, I think that the fact that people don't have this information, they're flying blind.
Right. In fact, that's how we are describing the state of the market
Yeah.
right now, which is managers are flying blind in terms
Yeah.
of what they should be paying and who they're competing against. So,
Okay, I'm sorry. So now let's compare Atlanta. I know you
okay,
were,
so
I just distracted you.
and you know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up another tab so we can flip back and forth between
Okay.
Boise and Atlanta if we need to. Okay, so let me just do this real quick, and through the magic of editing, we'll be able to see
Yeah.
both of these. Okay, so we're going to look at a data engineer. in Atlanta. Okay, so here's Atlanta.
Okay.
And, oops, we have two things selected
That
here.
would be a fascinating job combination.
Yeah, tell me about it. Okay, we'll get rid of that one. There. Data engineer. Okay, so now we've got data engineer in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have the ability now to compare that directly with
Got
data
it.
engineer in Boise, Idaho. So
Yeah.
in Atlanta, Georgia, same time period,
Yep.
the median advertised salary is 112, so 10% higher than Boise, Idaho, and that's off of data from 802 companies and 2,546 job openings.
So this is again 20. I mean, I would have been 10% of this. Like
Yeah.
I'm missing this by such huge scale. And I think that part of what I'm realizing is, we have a little over 5,000 customers. So we have a lot of customers.
Yeah.
But you're looking at how many companies' data?
So overall in the U.S., about 4.6 million.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's where the order of magnitude. I only have vision essentially of just 5,000 companies. And I'm just sitting here thinking what it must be like to be one company. And you're trying to know what do you need to do against all of your different job types and all of your different markets. And it cannot be outdated Bureau of Labor and Statistics numbers. It can't. It has got to be real time.
That's right. And so it can't be traditional sources of data.
Yeah.
It can't be, BLS. It can't be traditional economic houses and what they publish. It can't be traditional compensation surveys. It has to be something different, and that's what we set out to create. And so, and we knew that if we want to be able to give people this level of transparency, we had to get a really huge representation of the economy. Because the more samples you have, the more granular you can get, the more precise you can get. And so, right now we're talking about data engineers in a specific metro over the course of a year. We can break that down to say what's happening in the last month, and we still don't lose any of the precision. All right. So
that's just so. So we're looking at 112,000, over 112,000.
Right.
Average for this job. Can you show me? I love that the histogram that you showed me. Where what is top pay for this job?
Sure. So here again, you've got a cluster right around the median. So actually, the mode on this is about 115. But you've got a sizable proportion of jobs that are above 170. Yeah. I would say.
All the way up to 295.
Right.
Yeah.
So now here it's a little bit bigger market. So the chaos on the previous whisker chart is a little bit less, but still it's bouncing around a lot. And if we look, in Atlanta a year ago, the median was at 99,000. And if we look, right now, we're at 112, 112.5. And so Boise, it went down a little bit. Atlanta, it's gone up about 14% in 18 months. So not as
point, you're competing. If you have remote jobs, and we know that the candidates typically 10 to 20 times the number of applicants on a remote job. So we know that they care about remote jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But your point is when you have a remote job, you're competing with the entire U.S.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. This is incredible. Okay, so you're ready for the next one. So far, you've done really well. I don't know that I can really say, oh, we got you there. I don't think so. Oh, top employers. Yeah, this is even more interesting.
Yeah. So like in Atlanta, General Motors is the number one hirer for data engineers. Who would have thought?
No, because so totally expect that if you're in Michigan, right? You'd be like, of course, yeah, Detroit.
Here's another one. Chick-fil-A ranked about number 15. Atlanta organization makes total sense, but would it be on your radar if you were, one of the consulting firms? Probably not.
Well, and it also makes you wonder too. So, all right, this is an excellent piece of data. We're seeing a communications company that's in Atlanta that's paying a little under 96,000, and that job has been posted for 52 days.
Yeah.
and you look at the rest of the data, it's very clear why, because you have another one that's 142,000 and it was on for 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's super clear what's going on in the market with this data. It's absolutely incredible. Okay. So, so I don't get in trouble. Let's go. Now this one is very different. So, this one is a supply chain job.
Okay.
And I'm not surprised that one of our customers picked this one because of the challenges in logistics, fulfillment, and the whole thing. So it's warehouse team leader. I don't know if you'll have that job title, so maybe we should look at that. And they would like to see it in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
Their very specific question is they're trying to understand what the wage growth for this role has been over the last year, because they're having a very difficult time nailing down what the salary offer should be.
Sure. So again, easy to understand where the question is coming from, because I think the whole economy is feeling the labor pinch in the supply chain area. And so let's take a look. You asked if we had a warehouse team leader, and in fact, we do. It's
okay, so you have
we've got
managers. Right. Yeah, right. So apparently that's a real job title. Okay.
Right. Perfect. And what we do actually is one of the things that we bring to the table behind the scenes is we take all the different permutations of job titles that companies have, and we figure out how to map them into kind of standard jobs. And so in WageScape, we have a job catalog of about 6,500 jobs. And each of those jobs reflects a mapping of literally millions of different variations of job titles. So we figure out which jobs should be the warehouse team leader jobs, and we collect those. And then you said Memphis, Tennessee. So again, we look at Memphis and call that up. And so again, we're using kind of the last year's worth of data, and this is pretty amazing, actually. Wow. So you can see that throughout 2021, things were fairly flat, and then boom, it just soared way up. And so,
So go back to, let's say, October of 21. What was it?
Yeah. So right in October of 21, I'm hovering over that right now, and it shows that there was a median advertised wage of 33,000 roughly for a warehouse team lead. But if we go to
June,
June, so just basically a month ago, 82,000.
33,000 to 82,000 in the same market.
Right.
That is nuts. Okay, I wouldn't even come close to this.
Right. So for the folks that are on the receiving end of operations managers saying, we're advertising this way too low, you can see why. If in this case, there's other cases like the Boise, Idaho case where it's like, no, the press you're reading about wages going up so fast doesn't necessarily apply, to this position.
Yeah.
Right.
But that is maybe one of the biggest differences I've seen in the entire market. I mean,
right.
I know you and I have been working on some of this data for some of our other customers, and we don't have anything that has that type of an inflection, because that's more than double.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's way more than double, and it happens so fast, right? So the ability to see when that's happening and then respond super fast is something that companies have really been hampered by, and now we're bringing that visibility.
So for people that are not able to see this live, okay, if you can imagine that in the beginning of April of 2022, you can hire the same person for roughly, let's say, $35,000. And in June of 2022, you have to pay them $88,000 in order for them to come to work. That blows every company's budget. So this is exactly why we see inflation.
Yep.
Right. This is
it's
have to pay more people.
Yep. This is the bottleneck for the whole economy right now. And so, the other thing that's interesting is historically the mantra is that people quit because of bad managers.
Right.
But in this market, everyone who has one of these jobs right now is a target for recruiting, and this is what they're getting offered.
Yeah.
And if you get offered more than double what you're currently making, a lot of people are going to take it regardless of how good their manager is.
Oh yeah. I mean, that changes the trajectory of your household.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you can double or two and a half your income,
Hmm.
and it all that had to happen was a little bit of time had to pass. Now, if I'm seeing correct, it looks like it starts dropping back down again uh,
Yeah.
in
So
August.
I
Is that right?
Yeah, so I think that this might be kind of just the sample sizes in the last couple
Yeah.
of weeks, really. So we'll see what it does over the next couple of weeks. But there
Okay.
was clearly a period that lasted over a quarter, about four
Right.
months, where in Memphis for warehouse team leaders,
Yeah.
the pay just shot up.
Well, this I think it just puts kind of like I'll say a spotlight on exactly what a team needs to be doing and the fact that they don't have the information to do this. And one of the things you and I have talked about for a long time is we have been exchanging information between our two companies via API.
Hmm.
Well, humans can't look at APIs easily and get information out. And it's always been really difficult for people to understand the data that maybe was shared with them.
Hmm.
But this is super simple what you've created. I love the fact that you've got the numbers, but then you have the charts underneath it, and you can click in and see really specific data that supports what the high level numbers are.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's one of the things that we wanted to do is, and we worked really hard to get the technology right on this so that it combined simple to use with super fast and able to tap into kind of the full massive value of the underlying data platform. So the feedback that we've gotten so far from our beta users is exactly that. Super simple, easy to
Yeah.
understand, easy to use, super fast. So.
Yeah, this is amazing. All right, so I'm going to recap a few things because I want to make sure. So, number one, like I said, we normally do podcasts, so you don't have to see the screen. This moment, you definitely will have wanted to see the screen. So, what Cary has agreed to is I told him after I got to test him, I said, I'd love for you to share the files, the
Mhm.
PDF files
Yep.
of those things that we went through. I think that you also, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you also have a demo that's on your website of what is going to be launching at HR Tech this year, right?
That's absolutely right. You can go out to our website and you can play around with WageScape yourself. We've put a limited amount of data, but still, it's a pretty big amount of data for
Yeah.
most people.
Okay.
And you can play around with it. One of the things that it'll let you do is it'll let you print off the whole page as a PDF. And so you can embed it into your own reports. You can pull out different charts and so forth on your own. So it's intended for an audience to be able to use this information and communicate it with your own audiences.
That's great. And I love the fact that our universal integration platform, we're officially launching that at HR Tech 2, but we already have a number of partners, and we love the fact that Greenwich HR has been one of our very earliest partners. And the fact that we're able to integrate this information into our customers' experience, but also, and this is, I think, really key, also into the experience that our other partners have for their customers. So we really expand the footprint of information that I think is absolutely vital. We cannot have a strong economy if we do not have people filling the roles that we have to have filled. And we need the numbers, and you're providing that to us. I think it's incredible. So again, HR Tech, booth 7121. Cary Sparrow with Greenwich HR, thank you so much for joining.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always. Are you kidding? You're always welcome. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in person. I haven't seen you in person in far too long. Thanks to the pandemic, we used to get together at least a couple of times a year and help our customers out. And now we actually get to see each other again. So I hope that everyone listening will join us at HR Tech. I'm speaking at 2 o'clock on the stage in September the 15th with our partner IBM. And we're going to share automation and how it can really help drive unbiased talent acquisition results. So I'd love for you to join. And Cary, I hope you'll be in the audience cheering us on, and we will see you in September.